Welcome to the Bite-Sized Security Podcast, your source for practical online security advice. Join me, my guests, and sometimes my trained AI voice, as I explore ways to protect your digital footprint against the growing cyber threats. From mastering better passwords to understanding encryption and VPNs, the Bite-Sized Security Podcast breaks complex topics into clear guidance. It's time to take control of your online presence. You're listening to the Bite-Sized Security Podcast, unlocking solutions for your digital life. Let's get to it. Welcome back to another edition of Bite-Sized Security, your source for bite-sized cybersecurity lessons. I'm your host, Marc David, and with me today I have mobile security expert Savannah Hill. Our smartphones contain massive amounts of personal data and access, making mobile security critical. Savannah is joining me to provide tangible tips on keeping your mobile devices safe from hackers, malware, data theft, and unauthorized access. Whether you use an iPhone or Android, you'll walk away with actions you can take to boost your mobile safety. Savannah, so great to have you here. Can you start by giving us an overview of the major mobile security risks smartphone users face today?
Happy to be here. Mobile devices like smartphones and tablets have become tempting targets for cybercriminals because of all the sensitive information they contain. Think contacts, photos, messages, app data, and access to your online accounts. Two major risks are malware infections that can steal data and thieves cracking into devices if they're lost or stolen. But with some reasonable precautions, mobile users can greatly reduce their exposure.
Excellent context. Let's start walking through some key actions people can take, beginning with device access controls. What role do locks and biometrics play in mobile security?
Absolutely, restricting physical access is crucial. I always recommend using the strongest screen lock available for your device rather than no lock or just swipe patterns. For most modern smartphones, this means enabling a fingerprint reader or facial recognition for quick, secure unlocking. Strong passwords or longer numeric PINs also work if biometrics aren't an option. The lock makes it vastly harder for anyone who gets hold of your device to access the data.
What are your thoughts on users backing up their mobile data like contacts and photos? Does that play a role in the security equation?
Backing up your mobile data is critical for both security and having a redundancy if devices fail or get lost. I suggest regularly backing up photos, contacts, documents, and anything valuable to cloud storage like iCloud or Google Drive. You can also back up locally to a computer or external drive using iTunes or Android file transfer. This protects all your info if your phone is damaged, lost, or wiped.
That's an excellent habit I need to get better about myself. Let's talk about malware next. What steps can mobile users take to avoid infections?
Malware on mobile largely spreads through untrustworthy app downloads, just like on computers. So I advise installing apps only from the official Apple and Google app stores, where there is more stringent vetting. Avoid sideloading from unverified sources, which is riskier. Also, only grant app permissions to access contacts, location, as truly needed. And keep your device OS and apps up to date, since updates often patch security flaws. You can enable auto updates for your phone, and I strongly recommend you do that.
What about using mobile antivirus software as an additional precaution? Is that overkill or recommended?
Mobile antivirus can provide an added layer of protection, especially for Android users since Google Play isn't as tightly vetted as Apple's App Store. Look for highly rated options like Malwarebytes, AVG Antivirus, and Norton that can scan for malware and risky apps. But antivirus shouldn't replace precautions like safe app downloads. Think of it as supplemental for those wanting maximum mobile protection.
Let's shift to safe web browsing. What risks exist on mobile, and how can we browse more securely?
Mobile browsers pose many of the same risks as desktop: malicious sites, phishing attacks, unsecured connections. I'd recommend deleting unneeded browser cookies and history routinely to wipe potentially cached malware. Use the private or incognito browsing mode when accessing sensitive sites, like banking, to keep that activity out of your main browser. And when on public Wi-Fi, use a trusted VPN app to encrypt your connection and prevent snooping.
What about the risk of mobile devices getting physically lost or stolen? How can users prepare for that possibility?
That's always a concern with small, portable devices. Two things I recommend are enabling remote wipe capabilities and setting up device location tracking. Remote wipe allows you to securely erase all data if a device is lost. And location tracking apps like Find My iPhone or Android Device Manager let you pinpoint a missing phone. Also, set a lock screen message with your contact details such as email or a phone number but not your home address, so an honest finder can return it.
For users really serious about mobile security, are there any advanced steps you recommend beyond the basics?
A few additional protections come to mind, like setting up a VPN for all mobile traffic to encrypt it. For rooted Android users, running a mobile security suite like AVG Zen provides advanced malware scanning. And enterprise mobile management tools from vendors like VMware offer robust security controls for corporate devices. But for most mobile users, the steps we've covered, like strong locks, safe browsing, and backups, provide excellent security.
This has been an extremely helpful mobile bite-sized security mini-class for our listeners. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
I would just remind people that consistent vigilance is key. Revisit your security protections periodically as new risks emerge, and keep device OS and apps updated. And of course, contact mobile providers immediately if devices are lost or compromised.
Outstanding tips. Thank you for sharing your mobile security insights.
My pleasure, thanks for having me.
That concludes this bite-sized security edition focused on keeping your smartphones and tablets more secure. Enable strong locks, limit app permissions, use antivirus judiciously, browse safely, and back up your data. Take the time to implement mobile safeguards, and you'll reap the benefits of greater online safety. We'll see you next time. Stay secure out there. Thanks for listening to another episode of Bite-Sized Security, the quick-hitting podcast serving bite-sized tips to boost your online safety. We covered a lot of ground today and easy-to-digest nuggets of practical cybersecurity advice. If you want to learn more ways to protect your data and identity online, be sure to subscribe for future episodes. We'll continue breaking down complex security topics into straightforward guidance anyone can apply. Visit our website, bitesizesecurity.show, for recaps and show notes from all of our podcasts. We hope these bite-sized cyber lessons have given you new tools in your digital security toolbox. This is your host signing off until next time. Stay safe in the digital world. You've been listening to Bite-Sized Security.